Welcome back, everybody. This is the Barcode Mixer, and today we are actually back at Big Cypress Distillery. The movie magic, same day, different take.
Moments later.
And today we bring you James and Phil from Aphlora. And Aphlora is one of the liquors that Fernando here at Big Cypress helps create. This is your creation, actually, right?
This is fully our formulation, and we're lucky enough to have the very talented Fernando here at Big Cypress and his team, help us, with scaling and co-packing.
Yeah.
And actually, the ability to get to market and utilize their equipment and everything here. But this is one of the ones that is made here.
Yeah. So I mean, we were talking earlier. Actually, I don't want to cover your face there. My bad. We were talking earlier with Fernando. You guys were part of our live studio audience.
We tried not to chime in too much. But
we're trying to be a courteous audience, but we laughed a couple times.
It was great. It was great. But I think it's really cool, number one, what he's doing over there, and number two, what you guys are doing with this product, because this is almost like a, what would you call this, an aperitif, right?
Aperitif, a modifier. Fernando touched on something where he's like, they start from like a product first mentality where, we're really just focusing on how could we create something that's delicious, that is, going to be highly versatile to utilize in, a wide variety of cocktail formats.
Right.
And then eventually we realized that we had to spiral a brand out of it too. So
we definitely started with the juice, with the liquid, and built everything else around that. It's probably the opposite of what would normally happen, but
what do you mean?
What
do you mean that you started with the juice and the liquid first?
Like we focused on creating a liqueur, a product that we liked,
Gotcha,
and then built the brand around that.
Oh, okay.
Ultimately, to our ideology, like we were inspired by the state of Florida. We're Florida boys, and we want to make something that was kind of showcasing the beauty and bounty of what our state does as far as like botanical offerings and whatnot. Florida was the original muse, and that's kind of how we landed on utilizing the passion flower, the upcycled citrus neutral, etc. So we just want to make something tasty. We're really proud of what we're able to do here, and are very grateful that a lot of bars, restaurants, and retailers are carrying our stuff.
Yeah,
it's been an overwhelmingly positive reception, and we're super grateful for that.
I'll tell you, man, when I met you guys over at the Moxie, Mitchell was doing his thing with the United States Bartending Guild, USBG. Yeah.
In your defense, we just tasted some homemade herb.
Yeah, we just tasted some. My tongue's not working right now. So I met you guys over there, and you let me try the product, and right off the bat, I fell in love with it. I haven't had it since then, so I'm looking forward to doing a little memory refresher. But what I do remember is that it was almost like, I can't compare it to, like, looking at the color and looking at the bottle, like you automatically think like Aperol or Campari, but it's nothing like that. And then you were telling me that it's made from passion flower, not to be confused with the flower from a passion fruit tree. It's a completely different species of plant.
Yeah. So passion fruit is native to Dominican Republic, South America.
Right.
The scientific name for that guy is Passiflora edulis. What we utilize here is Passiflora incarnata, which is how we coined the name of flora from the Passiflora part.
Right.
It's a flowering vine that does still fruit, but the fruits are rather small and not typically utilized for their juice or flesh. So we are actually using the flowering bodies themselves. We do a maceration at ambient temperature to extract all those top notes and that deep ruby color as well. So it is a floral liqueur, probably more akin to like a Saint Germain than more akin to like a Chinola.
Right.
Is how I would
yeah, it's a little on the sweeter. I remember it being a little on the sweeter side. I remember that I wanted to, like, what did I tell you the first time I tried it? I was like, man, I want something spicy with this, right? Like I wanted,
spicy margaritas are very much in vogue. Everybody loves those. But,
right.
Yeah.
But I wanted like a little heat with it because it had like a sweet component, but it was also you know what, man? Let's stop talking about it. Let's get right into this.
Let's go.
I just want to remember what it was like.
So we really spent a lot of time focusing on the aromatic aspect of the drink. So as we know, flavor is a combination of taste and aroma.
Right.
So we wanted something that like really pops aromatically. Just because as a modifier, you might only use 3/4 of an ounce or a half ounce in a cocktail spec. So, we wanted to be really punchy on the nose, to stand out in a drink, and be just beautifully balanced.
You get so much like floralness and fruitness out of the nose, right? Almost like, I feel like strawberry, but not quite strawberry, but definitely very floral. That's what kind of gets me first.
Well, thank you for saying
That was our goal.
Yeah, there it is. You're right. It almost does feel like a Saint Germain, like the viscosity of it, similar to it.
We actually did do some viscosity testing. I mean, when we were pretty critical when it came down to, we were looking at color, aroma, taste, viscosity, pretty much all the senses that that were going to come into play when we're making this, because we had a lot of time in the lab to kind of figure it out. I say lab, but it's kitchen.
Right.
Our lab.
It's a lab.
Yeah.
It's a lab.
We ended up stockpiling enough equipment where it definitely is a laboratory by no stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and we were adamant about kind of benchmarking against some other liqueurs that we liked. So throughout the whole process, we were constantly tasting it, against either Saint Germain or Italicus or any of these other liqueurs in that same category. And like at a repeated process, we just compared it on aroma, compared it on taste, compared it on color.
Right.
We did that multiple times over a couple of years.
It's hundreds of times. There's a lot of trial and error.
Sure.
And we kind of approached this from more of a, my background is in the bartending world. So, making cocktails and training staff and launching cocktail menus. When we first set out to do this, I'm like, all right, like we know how to balance, we know how to do this. Once you start getting into the organic chemistry of distillation, it's things get wildly more complicated.
Right.
So, just several years of just constantly doing, small still runs. We have a small 3-gallon still that we did pretty much all of the R&D on before we started scaling here at Big Cypress. But, just trial, error, and just marking down every note. This guy's the king of spreadsheets over here. We got
hundreds of spreadsheets.
No, thousands, bro. I can't keep
God.
track of all of it. But he's tracking it all. But it's a lot to dig through when we're like, go back to spreadsheet number 2000 and whatever.
Doing back in August.
But yeah, ultimately we wanted to make something that was delicious, that highly versatile as a cocktail modifier. And that showcased, Florida as the provider of these botanicals. So that's kind of how it all came together. And it was a lot of hitting our heads up against the wall and, just not knowing exactly where it was going to take us. But
fair bit of naivety, I think. Maybe we wouldn't have even done it had we known how long it would take, and how difficult it would be. But,
there's a lot of red tape and speed bumps and headaches, but...
That's the funniest thing, man. Like when somebody starts something, that naivety is such a good factor.
Yeah.
Right? Because had you known what it would have taken to do all this, like you probably would have never started.
It would have been intimidating for sure. We would have probably been like, well, that's going to be impossible.
I've talked to so many people, like especially like big successful people, like. And that's the main thing they tell me. Like, had I known what it was going to take to do all this, I probably would have never started.
Being naive led us down the rabbit hole further and further, and eventually we're like, well, we've come this far. We got to keep trudging through and keep pushing.
Yeah.
So
just open the next door. Just make it through the next one. Just get through the next one.
Yeah.
And that kept us going each time with a little bit more wind in our sails every time.
Mm-hmm. It was, tiny victories and whatnot, and finally being confident enough to start showcasing it out in the public and getting a little bit of feedback. Yeah, man, it's been a journey.
Right. So how did you guys meet, first of all?
We've known each other since middle school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You grew up where?
We grew up in the Boca area.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
Then I attended college at UCF in Orlando, and you were up there for a bit too.
A little over 2 years as well. Yeah.
So you guys are childhood friends.
Yeah.
And then where did the idea come from?
So
You worked as a bartender before?
yeah, for like 16 years, and then I was a F&B manager for a hospitality management company. I ran some Marriott hotels in Gainesville and West Palm.
Hey, a small little company. I've heard of them.
I won't name names, but I left on great terms. Anyway, I did. It actually, like the date that we came up with the idea to launch a liqueur brand was on his birthday in like 2022.
Yeah, 22, I think. Yeah.
We were doing a little pub crawl around the Fort Lauderdale area.
As one does.
As one does. And we popped into a distillery down there, and I started talking to the manager there who was working that day, and he was talking about co-packing and doing like private label stuff, and like how that was like such a large portion of what was generating revenue for them. And I was like, interesting. And I started picking his brain a little bit, and then picking his brain a lot, and then starting asking like hard tax numbers, like what does it take? What does it take? And it was his birthday, and it was a pub crawl. So by the end of the night, it was like it's kind of stuck in the back of my head. But I think like the next day or two, I was like, I can come up with something with like the guy was showing me some of the brands that they were doing private label for. I'm like I feel like I can rock something that's probably more creative than that.
So this is a bar napkin business.
100%.
Essentially.
We
I love that.
Pretty close to it. Yeah.
That was July 22 that we went to that distillery, and I think like within a few days or weeks, I was making oleosaccharides and doing it took a few months before we started doing like hydrosols and small distillation runs, but and again like kind of in the back of my head, I'm like, how's this gonna scale? At first it was like we can make liqueur, ha ha ha, and like obviously you're not gonna make an oleo and like make that into like a production run. It's insane.
Bottles, yeah.
But just like working out stuff and like just thinking about flavors. I think at first it was like key lime, because it was always like just like to make something Floridian.
Right.
And I was making hydrosols of muscadine grapes too, which grow naturally in Florida. And
Do they really?
Yeah.
Where?
North and central, like north of Orlando, there's a few vineyards up there. But I love the flavor of that grape too. I mean, it makes obviously like a very unique style of wine. But sourcing the grapes and like doing distillations with that, and just trying to pull out all sorts of aromatic compounds and seeing what would kind of blend before, eventually we kind of moved more away from citrus and more towards floral.
Right.
So the state wildflower in Florida is called Coreopsis tinctoria, and it's like a little yellow, like daisy-looking flower.
Okay.
They grow all over. They actually did like a project where they plant them near highways to kind of,
Yeah, if you're ever driving like on a turnpike and you see those tiny little yellow flowers kind of along the road, that's what those are.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, they're wildflowers. Yeah.
And that's the state flower.
State flower.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
State
I think
wildflower.
orange blossom is the state flower, and then our state has a wildflower as well as a subcategory, and it's this Coreopsis. So anyway, I was able to source some of that stuff, some of those flowers, and start tincturing and macerating, doing all these weird experiments, and eventually we kind of dialed into what we thought was like a really lovely formula, and we started tweaking it over about the course of a year. It took quite some time of like R&Ding and like making this beautiful, it's like Strega or yellow chartreuse colored, bright yellow, lovely
it was
liquid.
A beautiful color, it really was.
And very tasty as well, I might add. But again, back to the naivety of where we all started with this stuff. It eventually occurred to us that we should do our due diligence with like the governing bodies and the TTB and whatnot.
Right.
So
Make sure we're not using anything we're not supposed to be.
or that they'd allow it. So Phil went ahead.
Called.
Yeah.
Actually called the TTB. Was like on the phone for like on hold for 20 minutes, and eventually got a hold of a human being and was able to kind of tell them what we were doing, ask a few questions. Again, just total naivety of explaining what we're trying to do. He's like, what distillery are you with? I was like, don't worry about that for now.
We're not there yet.
This is all a hypothetical,
Yes,
man.
it's all hypothetical, exactly. And
We had put so many hours into it at that point. It was like, all right, like let's start to do the due diligence that late in the game was kind of silly on our part. But
yeah, but then we kind of listed all the ingredients and they looked everything up and they're like, this one ingredient, this Coreopsis. They're like, we don't. The TTB doesn't have a record of this. They're like, we can't allow you to use it. And I was like, well, it's sold like at Walmart. It's
Right.
readily available.
Widely sold
and they're
online
Like,
as
well,
a
you have
tea,
to
yeah.
contact the FDA and they need to send us an email or a letter saying yes, it's safe for you to use. So again, naive, we decided, okay,
Like,
we're
cool,
gonna
let's just
email
do that.
The
Yeah.
FDA, we'll ask them to just approve this for us for the TTB. No, it was not that simple at all. They have to go through what's called a GRAS process, which means generally recognized as safe. It's like a category
Okay.
for all botanicals that can be used for foods and drinks. And so we started working with a group from the FDA to do what's called a GRAS notice, because the FDA no longer evaluates botanicals. I think like since the 80s or 90s, they decided at one point that, hey, we don't have the bandwidth to evaluate all these botanicals.
Right.
So we just put the onus on the individuals that want something approved to do their own research and submit all
you
their
had
research
to hire
to
like
us.
scientists and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we hired scientists. Well, so it was pro bono. Two biologists from the University of Florida were very kind of donating their time to help us in this effort. When I lived in Gainesville, I was befriended and kind of got to know some people up there. We ended up building out like a 50-page scientific dossier to submit to the FDA, so that
We're pulling scientific journals from different countries.
pulling
and
articles
translating
behind
them,
firewalls for
you know.
universities, and like we're building this thing out. Again, naivety. We're gonna keep with that theme.
Yeah, yeah.
So we go back to the FDA, and we had like a caseworker or whatever working through directly.
Yep.
And their guidance was you need to submit basically hard factual science that's completely objective, stating that this botanical is safe to use. So we thought we had done that, and they're like, well, ultimately it's like totally up to us if we accept it. And we're like, so you need hard objective science, but then it's subjective to you if you're going to approve it. And like, yeah, pretty much.
And we realized at this point, after months of back and forth with them and working with multiple people at the FDA and then the scientists and putting together documentation, sending it, them coming back saying they needed more, right? Multiple rounds of this.
Right.
We realized that there's a good chance this could take years
Right.
for us to ever be
Or
able to push
never,
it through.
yeah.
Right. Or never. And so that's when we pivoted at that point. It was definitely a low in our journey, but
Right.
we had to pivot, and we decided, okay, let's start with something that we already know is approved, and let's see if we can reformulate from there. So we kind of, started, I don't want to say we started from scratch because we just had so much experience at that point going
Right.
into it, but we wanted to find something else that, kind of met all those same criteria, but was already pre-approved, and it wouldn't be a hurdle we'd have to go through.
FDA GRAS approval that we knew the TTB would be all right with us using, plus native, indigenous, or grows in Florida naturally.
Because that was important to you to have something from here.
That was our muse from the beginning.
Right.
It was like I said, we were
You
working
said
with
that
key
earlier,
limes
Florida
at a
was the
point,
muse.
and then there's the wildflower, and so then if anyone else is going to launch a liqueur one day, they should probably do it this way. It's like start with the FDA approved list and go down that until you find your
Right.
botanicals that you think you can use or would like to. So passion flower was on that list, or we just started checking off everything. But when we found the passion flower, it feels like holy shit. It's part of my language. It's indigenous to Florida. Look at this flower. It's a beautiful. Looks like an alien creature. Like the flowers are awesome. I don't know if you've ever seen them. But,
No, I haven't.
I'll pull out a photo. But then the next step was like, all right, can we source some quality passion flowers from somewhere? And that took a while. It is widely sold as like a tea product. I think there's like a popular brand of tea that makes like a sleepy time tea.
Yeah, and in those tea products, they tend to use the leaves and the stems, I believe.
It's
more common.
it's a
whereas
flowering
we use
vine,
the
so-
flowering bodies themselves.
exactly.
It almost looks like a busted open orchid, kind of in a way.
Yeah, that kind of splayed out,
with those
split.
tendrils.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, beautiful, aromatic, and luckily we were able to, like Phil was just saying, widely sold. You can get like the chopped up stems and leaves, and you're looking at like this like kind of muddy brown green kind of mess. We were able to find a supplier that had the actual flowering bodies, like little sun dried, purple flowers. So then once we got those sourced, then it was like not so much back to the drawing board, but like, all right, let's, we're reinventing this. It's no
Right.
longer this Coreopsis liqueur. But like Phil said, we'd kind of gotten so much information data. Had a lot of spreadsheets in our corner at that point, where we kind of were learning how to be more diligent in our processes to dial in faster and more effectively than originally, when we were kind of just like, hey, we're behind the bar, we're at the lab, and we're like making drinks.
It was trial by fire, and by the time we switched to botanical, we were crispy enough to be able to just move quickly. So
right.
So then another year of that. We're so crispy. So then,
But then sourcing botanicals and sourcing the glass and the labels, right? Every time we're like, okay, let's do the labels. Oh, okay. What are the requirements there, right? What do we need to learn? What do we need to do? So every step of the way, we just did it ourselves. We took it on ourselves, whether it was designing the labels or getting our trademark registration or submitting the formulation, right? So every step of the way was a learning process, so it probably took longer than it should have. But now, we can say we bootstrapped the whole thing ourselves, though.
Right. No, it's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful story, honestly. The fact that you guys didn't give up, no matter how many obstacles you were met with, right? Because you guys started this, 2022, you said?
2022 is when the seed was planted in our minds, right. And then, I think it wasn't. When did we form the LLC?
In 23.
23.
We were working at it through the late end of 2022.
Right.
Sure, is when it kind of was originally got the ball rolling. Yeah.
And you kept getting gut punched every step of the way until
now we're in 50 plus bars across the state of Florida, and right now it's going. Again, like, it was kind of a whirlwind process. The day we were here on the very first bottling day, and we were just seeing, hundreds of bottles getting labeled by that man and Chris. It was, it just seemed so surreal because we'd been making so many little 100 milliliter samples for like years on end.
Right,
and then all of a sudden there's like, a pallet, and I was like, oh my, this is really happening. But it's incredibly gratifying to see your dreams become a reality, and again, like you said earlier, the feedback we've gotten from a lot of very talented bartenders and people throughout the state who are just fans of it, and they're utilizing it and making cocktails with it is like the ultimate reward.
I bet.
Absolutely.
I mean, to see your product go from like that one conversation, bar hopping in Fort Lauderdale, to then bottling it here at Big Cypress and having it, you said 50 bars across the U.S., across
50 plus
Florida?
across Florida.
Across Florida,
that's huge, man.
Yeah, we launched, we hit market in March last year, so it's been about 10 and a half months since we launched.
So you guys are just getting started.
Yeah,
we're within the first year. I mean, technically, I guess you could say this is like the discovery, or trying to figure out if
you heard it here first at Barcode Mixer.
Come try some Aphlora.
Come try Aphlora.
It's that new deliciousness.
So Phil, tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, I know you were a bartender, but what were you doing before this?
We bartended together a little bit.
Oh, you were also bartending?
Yeah. Okay. So for a short period there, so we worked at a bar together in Orlando while I lived there, and then I moved back down here to South Florida. At one point, I was doing like a lot of event bartending. I have a cousin who had a PR company, so I was always bartending at her events. Like, I remember, I bartended a bunch of times at Pangea when that used to be at the Hard Rock.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then I would do a lot of like event spaces and bartending. And I just did it just for extra cash a lot of times. But then after college, I got into IT. And I mostly just went the corporate route for a while there.
Okay.
And then back in 2022, like towards the end of 2022, the company I was working for got acquired. And we, post-COVID, we both kind of found ourselves back in South Florida, both not working. And like kind of in between stuff, and that's where this idea came in. And we're like, hey, when are we ever going to be living in the same area again? Both kind of in between jobs and trying to figure out what to do. Like, when else in life are we going to get a chance to do that? So I think that also was a driving factor for us. That, like, my dad used to say, if a horse walks by with a saddle on it, you jump on. So
that's a great saying.
So it's just like one of those things where when else are we going to be like at that moment in life where we can just do it, and opportunity kind of came our way, so just jumped on.
When else are we going to be unemployed in South Florida again together?
We're still unemployed in South Florida.
No. We launched a very awesome, badass brand of liqueur, man.
I think it's a great brand, man. I mean, the flavors, I'm digging it. Like you could do so much with this. Like I said, you could go a little on the spicy route with it. You can dive into the tiki world of it. You could have it on its own. You guys have on the back a recipe for an Aphlora spritz, similar to an Aperol spritz. I could totally see that sitting by the pool, pounding those all day. You know.
Yeah, our goal is to be the spritz of summer 2026. The Aphlora spritz, hopefully.
Let's make that happen, dude. I think we should make that happen.
You also
Absolutely.
heard that here first, so yeah.
That's right. You heard that here first. The spritz of summer 2026.
We've seen a lot of creativity in a lot of these these accounts that we've been lucky enough to land into. From sherry cobblers to tiki applications to spritz riffs and whatnot. So when we were designing this from the ground up, we knew we wanted to make a modifier that was going to be highly versatile.
Yeah.
That we wanted to be, very nicely balanced, that could fit and play with, a wide variety of base spirits. So to see a lot of, like I said, very talented bartenders kind of immediately just taking a whiff or taking a taste, and once the gears start turning,
yeah.
that is such a great feeling for us to know that, we wanted to design Aphlora to be, like a tool in a bartender's toolkit, It's a paintbrush. It's something that you can create with.
But I mean, you also have this flavor profile can work with anything. Like,
thank you for saying we hope so.
Well, no, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like
you
you can go full on and just highlight the spirit itself. But it plays, I can tell right now just from tasting it, it plays with rum, it'll play with bourbon, it'll play with rye.
Play with gin, play with
anything.
you name it.
Anything, you know what I mean? You could even do a Cosmo riff with this.
Who said that? We spoke with someone recently about that. They went.
I don't remember who it was. Yeah, they did.
If you sub the cranberry juice for this, and then
was it Larry at Champagne?
Might have been Larry, yeah.
Oh, that's my boy, dude, Larry. yeah, bro.
I think
great minds think alike.
You introduced us at Oikomayer for the Golden Boy launch.
That's right.
Yeah, Larry's the man, dude. Shout out Larry.
Larry's incredible, dude. Larry's awesome. Funny enough, Larry was the first unofficial guest of this show, but the episode was so bad that it's in the chamber. But big shout out to Larry for helping us out. Larry was our friends and family.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're opening up a restaurant, you're doing a thing, like, you have to have friends and family and no one knows about it. But it was such a bad episode. Not because Larry was great. I was awful. Like,
you gotta either shake off the cobwebs or at least get a
but we learned
a rhythm
a lot.
going.
Yeah, we learned a lot because of Larry, honestly.
Yeah.
That's my boy, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. And shout out Robbie and Pat and Steele over at Golden Boy too.
Man, that was a fun event.
Too.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to go over there because that's the way I take to go home from work. I pass right by, and sometimes I get out too late, and they're already. I see the lights are off and they're gone.
Yeah.
Damn. But I'll make it. I'll make it one day.
No,
I'll make it again.
Love what they're doing over
So
there, man.
how did you guys link up with Fernando?
We were kind of casting a wide net of
Gotcha.
Of distilleries down here, and we were just like, let's talk to everybody and see what the right fit is going to be. And this was kind of by chance. We came here several years ago. I think we were still working with the Coreopsis. I don't even think we were at Passion Flower at that time. But we came here by chance. Fernando was here. I think it was also his birthday. We didn't know that.
It
But
just happened to be his birthday the day. We just came in for a tasting, right? We just scheduled it.
So similar to what happened earlier, like, try this. Just very hospitable, very gracious with his time and his knowledge. And we, I think in short order, we just started talking about distillation and, and then phytochemistry. And he's like, you guys are scientists, aren't you? Like we're flattered that you would think so. Like, we're enthusiasts. But, I think we might have told him that we were working on a liqueur, and we said we'd love to stop by one time with samples.
We had the notepad out. We were taking notes.
Yeah.
He was drawing graphs at one point.
Just a wealth of knowledge, as you saw, man.
With how much he knew.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were thinking about doing an alternating proprietorship. So that's where effectively you lease out an existing distillery.
Okay.
But that kind of fell through. And it was about, it was almost like 6 months or 8 months after we first met him. We reached back out and said, hey, our alternating proprietorship that we were working on before kind of fell through. Could we come by? We'd love to have you taste it. And we brought it here. He tasted it. He really liked it. And we just asked him if he'd be open to working with us. And it went from there.
Yeah. He was, again, extremely generous with his knowledge about everything as well. But he allowed us to come in. We brought in our little 3-gallon still. And back on the packaging side, we literally did like a tiny batch in front of him. And it was talk about like gaining confidence when he's like, guys, like, I'm getting goosebumps here with the smells coming out of this still right now. He's like, this is going to be badass. So, that's after we signed an NDA and everything. He's like, all right, like, well, we had to figure out if everything was going to make sense with the equipment wise and how everything was going to scale. But after doing that little tiny run here and sampling him on that product that we made right here at the distillery, then he's like, yeah, we can work out together.
And really, he was just like so generous with his knowledge throughout the entire process. There were so many elements that we weren't thinking about, and then as we told him through, he's like, "Well, come on, guys, you can't do that. That's not going to scale, right?" So then, okay, we go back to the drawing board and refine the process. So he really was like a mentor and a guide throughout this whole process for us, even just getting to the point where we were ready to start producing.
Yeah, I think he said he wasn't really interested in taking on any new clients at the time as well, but we had kind of approached him with effectively a finished product that just needed help scaling. So, plus you heard him, he really likes it too, which is beyond flattering, man. Because if someone's gonna give you compliments and it's coming from him, that means the world to us. This guy knows his stuff. So but yeah, it was kind of by chance, more or less. We were, like I said, cast a wide net. We're just looking for distilleries kind of within X amount of mile radius. And funny enough, before we had even done the small run and, started work with them directly, we went to Still Dragon up in, where's that?
It's in
PSL?
It's like Jupiter area. I think they're up in Stewart now, but they were in West Palm, I think, at the time.
So they're the largest manufacturer of distillation equipment in the whole U.S. They got,
equipment.
Yeah.
You guys were to buy your own stuff.
No, when we were doing potentially this alternating proprietorship, the distillery
had their equipment.
Had the equipment, but had no idea how to use it. And like, you guys can come in here and just run this stuff. And we're like, well, we've only worked on a baby still. Like, let's do our due diligence now because we're smarter. Let's go to the manufacturer of the equipment that we knew that they had.
Which by luck happened to be up the street, so.
And it's funny enough. So we got a tour of the actual, the facility. I don't think they manufacture there, but they have all of their.
I think they assemble and do some manufacturing there. Yeah.
But anyway, those guys are super badass. What were their names?
Larry and Paul. I'm blanking on them.
Anyway,
cool guys though.
Anyways, shout out Still Dragon.
Shout out to the Still Dragon guys. Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm doing shout outs here. 40 years old. Anyway. Funny enough, they give us a tour of the facility. We're taking down all these notes and stuff. We're like, all right, like, butterflies in their stomach. Like, we can't really financially afford to just keep screwing up run after run. So we need to go in there and like one shot and nail it at like 100x scale of what we've ever done before. So it was very intimidating. And funny enough, the guys at Still Dragon are like, your product's going to be a liqueur? And we're like, yeah, we'll bring you some samples. And they said, if you're going to make a liqueur, Fernando Plata in Miami at Big Cypress is like, he's like, there's two people in the United States who really know how to make liqueurs. Like, one guy's in Seattle, and then there's Fernando in Miami. And we're like, we actually met Fernando and tasted him on our liqueur, and he really liked it. And they
were blown away.
They said,
well, if that's the case, then just do that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, if Fernando likes it, then he's like, you guys must have something great. Just he's the guy. Go do that. So that's when we turned right around and came back.
We knew Fernando was really, like I said, he's wealth of knowledge, knows his stuff inside and out.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then to hear the largest manufacturers of distillation equipment in the country, we're like, there's two people in the country that can do it. If you want to go to Seattle or Miami, and Fernando's the guy, and we're like, well, there it is, man. Let's reach back out. And we were lucky enough that he was, he even said, he's like, I'm not trying to bring in new clients right now, but this product, I want to see this product on shelves, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And he's opened the doors to us. I mean, first time he cranked on that still, he's like, I got a meeting. You guys are good to go? And we're like, yep. So we've been very hands-on. I mean, this is an artisanal
Like the epitome
product.
of mi casa su casa, huh?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, even just now when he just left, he's like, make yourselves at home.
Yeah, dude.
Just like, you guys got this. Go.
Yeah.
Help yourself to some more chartreuse.
I swear he said that too.
Yeah. Where's the bottle?
Where's the bottle? No, but dude, I think it's so great that you guys came on board with him and like you guys are collabing together because it's
been a blessing, dude. We're lucky as hell that it turned out this way with him.
I think it's so cool. I think it's so cool that it's a Florida product. Like, you know, people tend to kind of shit on us a little bit down here. You know what I mean?
They don't know anything.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything.
Those people
All they
what
know
they're
is
talking
Florida
about.
Man and South Beach cocaine parties, right? Like, there's a lot more. These were made. This was made by Florida men.
Florida man
You know
in
what I'm saying?
Florida with
in
the
Florida with Florida
botanical-
ingredients.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, and if it's under wraps and you don't want to say yet, then by all means. But are you still doing the due diligence to get the original Wildflower approved? Is that going to be maybe another thing that you might
We
go
talked
into the
about it.
repertoire?
We hope so. I mean, all of the scientific dossier that we put together
Right.
is still there, and we would still need to submit it. But it's kind of, we put the brakes on it, but we definitely didn't backtrack on it.
Because I think it'd be great for that to be like your second, you know.
Yeah, we would love to do it as a line extension at some point.
That'd be so cool.
One of the first things that when we told Fernando that story, we were like, we pivoted away from this FDA grass notice, and his eyes got huge. He's like, that would have been the most badass thing you could have done. It's like you literally changed like the legality for like
Yeah.
a new botanical to get it put into a spirit. He's like, that's the coolest story ever. So
I think you guys should
we
definitely.
literally have like all the data, and we're getting ready to submit to. We had the caseworker of that board that we were ready to submit everything to, and then we kind of were just like, do we really want to go down this path?
Yeah,
and we could
it
just
was-
submit
Yeah,
it
you
and then
could.
see what happens. you
Right.
know?
There's really like it's like I don't even think there's a cost to submitting it,
Sure.
but it's just it could be like a long drawn out process of having to justify it, and they might need us to hire a board of scientists to come in and do independent research
Yeah.
on it.
Most companies that do submit grass notices that get approved are usually massive corporations with deep
Right.
pockets to kind of change the legal status of stuff.
Right.
So again, naivety.
I mean, I think maybe there are companies. that
Well,
will
I mean,
do
if
it.
the guys at home buy more of this, like you guys are on liquor shelves, right?
Yeah. Well, in Miami, just here for now. We've got placements throughout Orlando, St. Pete, Naples. We are available to buy online through our website.
There you go.
Which is a link to that through our Instagram as well.
Help support the cause.
Yeah.
To change the legality of the grass.
See new botanicals in the market. Yeah.
No, I think it'd be sick if you guys expand like that. I mean, not that you have to. This is already a great product, but
No,
I think it'd be super cool to get another,
We've always planned to do
Florida
some
liqueur.
kind of line extension and expand beyond this, but obviously right now, I mean, this is the whole company right here, so we're
it's huge.
it's we're focusing just
Massive
on
corporation,
getting our
too.
feet underneath us right now with the Flora, and again, super grateful and proud of and happy with all the current accounts that are carrying our stuff.
No, it's beautiful. So guys, one of the things here at the show, we are the Barcode Mixer, and our motto is we live by the code. And I'm curious to see what code both of you live by. I'll start with you, Phil. What is your code? What's like your warrior ethos?
Another thing my dad used to say is always forward. So, things happen in life. You stumble, you fall down.
Was your dad military?
No.
No.
He just always had these sayings, and like the one I mentioned about the saddle before. But
Yeah.
one of the big ones he would always say, like whenever I had a problem in life or I was thinking, something got me down, just be like, son, always forward.
Right.
Can't go back, always forward.
Can't go back.
So I think that also allowed us to do this too. There were multiple times when we thought, man, like, are we really doing this? Like, is this going to work? Like, are we wasting our time? And it's like, always forward, man. We'll only find out if we keep going. So.
Right.
There's definitely moments when it was like, what are we doing? But always forward. Love that.
And how about you, James?
For me, just creative expression, man. I think I don't throw the term art around loosely, but we wanted to share this this kind of vision and
Right.
this passion for throughout my career in bartending, it was always, you know, the when you see the joy and delight on a guest's face, tasting a cocktail that, you know, like you are indeed back at house and like you made all the syrups yourself, and like they might not even know it's your drink when they're reading it off the menu,
Right.
but when they order that a second time and you're mixing that drink for them, like I've created something that is really bringing someone like happy. They're willing to spend their hard-earned money on something that like I really had a involvement in. So that's kind of how we morphed it into this, and now we get to continue to share it in other bars through the hands of and minds of other talented bartenders that get to, you know, play with our product is something that I really love. So just if you make art, you got to get it out there and stay creative and share it. I think it's my code.
I love that. And you know, honestly, I do like some people don't see this as art, but you know, I like to think that you can live your life one of two ways. One is to look at things like nothing is art and it's all just a craft, or to look at everything as potential art, right? Because even in craftsmanship, there's art to that. Like if a guy is carpenter, for example, like that's his craft to hang up cabinets, right?
For sure.
But he could do a shitty job or he could do an amazing job. And like there's some cabinets, I mean, not to geek out over cabinets, but like there's some cabinets.
It's the perfect metaphor.
Yeah, but like, dude, there's some, like you walk into a kitchen sometimes and you look at these cabinets that have the right shaker and the right gloss and this, that, and the other, and like installed the perfect way with no gaps. And you look at this thing and you're like, oh, that's beautiful. Like you're not going to look at it like a Monet painting, right? But you obviously are drawn to it because it's, you know,
appreciate the craftsmanship.
You could appreciate the craftsmanship.
Someone took the time to make it look
creative
good.
expression is there. You know?
Absolutely.
It's like,
Absolutely.
You can't discount what might be someone's art. It doesn't have to be just paintings or, you know, the guitar, but it can be a lot of different things. I definitely believe that.
Well, gentlemen, before we head out of here, what bars are you guys in? Where can people find you, taste your product, besides the liquor stores? Do you know off the top of your head?
We've got it all listed on the website. Off the top of my head, just starting nearby, we're in Oikomayer at Golden Boy.
Right.
Dead Flamingo.
Dead Flamingo.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, right down
Andy
the
at La
street.
Trova just picked up last month. We saw him last night over at the Swizzle Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Nice.
1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary,
We're in Swizzle
man.
Fort Lauderdale too.
Okay.
Better Days, The Corner, Mama Tried, the Moxie on Sobe.
Damn, you guys are all at my spots.
Where else? Is that all? There's probably more in Miami. I just can't think of them right now.
There's in Fort Lauderdale a few places too.
Yeah.
And a couple.
Blackjacks. I already said Swizzle. Palm Room.
Palm Room, Swizzle. And then there's Oceano up in Lake Worth as well.
So you guys are in quite a bit of places. So
That's South Florida. Yeah, we got a
and what's the website? Just
www.Aphlora Liqueur liqueur.com.
Beautiful. Well, there you have it, guys. Aphlora Liqueur. We're with James and Phil here at a Big Cypress Distillery, and this has been the Barcode Mixer. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
That was great, dude.